evolving for centuries, but the contemporary evolution of the New World Order is virtually identical to Henry Kissinger's 1950s, early 50s Harvard PhD thesis called The Meaning of History, wherein he lays out the need for ongoing small wars around the planet on a continuing basis to maintain the economic alignment of the superpowers, of which the war against AIDS, the war against drugs, the war against crime, the war against illiteracy, the war against illegal immigration, all of these useless wars that taxpayers are spending countless fortunes to fund, only building huge dysfunctional bureaucracies and funding the coffers of the oligarchy, the shadow governors. So this is the Rockefeller-led, principally military, medical, industrial complex today. And medicine, you know, it's fabulous. It's now, at least in the United States, over 15% of the gross national product. It's as huge an industry as is military. So, you know, you reports more people are dying from, living off of cancer than dying from cancer, and it's true. And who started the cancer industry but the Rockefellers in the 1920s? So Kissinger's role, where does he fit in, where does he really go back to in this whole mess, is literally in around 1938-39, Kissinger leaves Nazi Germany, literally 3 months before Kristallnacht. He leaves Nazi Germany. According to Walter Isaacson in the book Kissinger, Kissinger's greatest gripe, leaving at age 16, when my mother, age 16, is in Nazi Austria, scrubbing the streets at Nazi gunpoint. Kissinger leaves with his parents. His greatest gripe, according to Walter Isaacson, is that why can't he march in the streets like the other Nazi youth? And in fact, in the Bible, it talks about, beware of those who call themselves Jews who are not. Henry Kissinger is a classic example of that, you see. This is a man who denied his Judaism. He has no spiritual reality. He has dons a yarmulke, like President Clinton, when it's politically convenient, and then takes it off. And you see, he goes back to Nazi Germany in the infantry 6 years later, age 23, never fires a shot, immediately gets boosted up into American intelligence among the highest positions as the right-hand man, the chief translator for General Bolling, who's Joint Intelligence Commission director, the, quote, godfather to Project Paperclip. Kissinger becomes American intelligence's chief Nazi hunter. His assignment to seek out and find Nazis, not for war crime trials, as we all believed, but for service to American intelligence and American industry. This was all done under top-secret project codenamed Paperclip, Project Paperclip, which was the exfiltration of approximately 2,000 Nazis out of Germany through the Rat Line, the secret railroad that went from Germany to Rome, wherein, before the war's end, they got out almost all of the highest-level Nazis and all the Nazi money, including the gold. In the newspapers recently, at least in the United States, USA Today had 5 days where they had a special thing that said not only where did the gold go, but the Red Cross knew that the Nazis were up to no good and they could have done more. Again, 80% truth. They don't tell you 10%, 20% of the most important facts. The Nazis, by the way, were given, many of these Nazis were given false identifications through the American Red Cross. They were given CIA identifications, like the false one of Klaus Barbie, who I show you in the book Emerging Viruses, AIDS, and Ebola, reprinted in black and white. Joseph Mengele, another one that got out in this manner. And Erich Traub, T-R-A-U-B, and his assistant, Hitler's top biological weapons developer, that they took out, and he went to work. They put him to work at the United States Naval Biological Research Laboratory. They paid them, these people, $65,000 a year starting in 1948, plus benefits. That was a lot of money back then, and for a lot of people today, that's still a lot of money. So this is Hitler's top biological weapons developer. And the American Red Cross, I told you that you see, it was Lawrence Rockefeller that put together the New York City Blood Council. This was the council of doctors that put together the New York City Blood Bank. These became the international blood bankers, you see? These were the people that allowed 10,000 hemophiliacs throughout the United States and countless others throughout the world to get HIV-contaminated blood, simply allegedly because they didn't want to spend $150 million to clean them up. Maybe they had a different agenda besides that, besides money. So the Nazis are getting out through the Rat Line. Unfortunately, half of the Nazi war chest, remaining $300 million at the end of the war, was laundered through, or filtered through, that is, the Chase Bank Paris branch, which happened to remain open throughout the German occupation of Paris. That's Rockefeller's bank. And that the Dulles brothers, John Foster and Allen Dulles, we have out of Washington, D.C. at an airport, Dulles Airport. It's a hero to America, right? It was the Dulles brothers who were John D. Rockefeller, Standard Oil's chief legal counsel and chief business managers. It was the Dulles brothers that engineered the partnership, you see, between I.G. Farben, Germany's leading industrial group, and John D. Rockefeller, Standard Oil. It was, and by the way, the Third Reich. It was I.G. Farben that was Hitler's principal military armaments company. These were the people that used the concentration camp victims as slave labor to build and run their factories. These were the people that held the patent on the gas that killed those millions of people. This is Rockefeller's partner. Many Americans are holding, maybe Canadians too, Chase Bank, Manhattan Bank cards. Buying gas from Esso, Exxon, might want to think twice. We are funding this. So, literally, it is a tribute to counterintelligence propaganda that we don't have the American Jewish community, the African American community, and the Nation of Islam, and the American Christian community joining hand in hand, picketing outside Chase Manhattan Bank in New York, literally burning Rockefeller in effigy. That's a tribute to the great effort of American counterintelligence, persuasion technology research efforts funded by Rockefeller and Alfred P. Sloan Foundation, who paid Massachusetts Institute of Technology $200,000 a year during the 1960s under the neurosciences umbrella. How noble. For, quote, public management, mass persuasion technologies research, brainwashing. So, the Dulles brothers, besides, remember I told you that not only what you know about AIDS is a deception, what you know about virtually everything is a deception. It was the Dulles brothers that clearly engineered the Cold War. Not only was the Rockefellers making money off of every side of every war of this whole past century, but it wasn't enough after World War II. They had to create another war called the Cold War. You see, the game was to separate people, divide and conquer the sheeple. Yeah, divide the sheeple to conquer the flock. You know, the international banksters. They make money off of both sides of every war. That's why we have the rifts that we do between the nations. They funded the Marxists, Marx, Lenin, communism. They separate communist from socialist, from capitalist, Democrat from Republican, reform from liberal, conservative. You see, they play off against one another. White from black, rich from poor, black, HIV positive from HIV negative, gay from straight, Christian from Muslim, Jew from Gentile. That's the game, folks. Time we wake up. We've been had. They manipulate. The game is manipulate through fear. Today, somebody on radio called up and we're discussing, like, am I spreading fear needlessly? My response should have been, you're a cult member and you don't even know who your cult leader is. You know, they made me the cult leader. This is funny. Warner Brothers, about 3 weeks ago on national television, they made me the new cult leader of all of the crazy lunatic cult members who believe that the AIDS and Ebola viruses are man-made. How about that? I have a great cult following. My 2-year-old and 5-year-old, and my wife supporting me. That's my cult. That's my cult. So, at any rate, you see, this is the Rockefeller Military Medical Industrial Complex. Now, the Rockefeller group began to fund in 1920s not only the Flexner Report, which outlawed all of the other alternatives to pharmaceutical medicine and healing.